Will Tom Brady instantly turn the Tampa Bay Buccaneers into a Super Bowl team?
Super Bowl. Do I think they'll be better? 11-5 will probably get them to the playoffs. I'm not willing to say Super Bowl contender just yet because I want to see how well they play defensively. Now, Skip, they should be better defensively for the simple fact Tom will not put them in harm's way like Jameis did last year.
I sure hope not.
So if he just has half as many turnovers as Jameis has, that should equate to maybe 3 more wins. And I think if I'm not mistaken, Skip, they're 7-9, 8-8. So that should equate to 10-6, 11-5. So do I think they're a playoff team? Yes. I believe the Saints are still in will be a playoff team. I believe the 49ers, Seahawks.
Cowboys.
No. I haven't said that about the Cowboys. Y'all don't have a quarterback. You believe you go into the playoffs with Cooper Rush?
He's tagged. We're good.
He said, I'm not signed. I'm not playing under the tag.
Okay.
But, yeah, I do believe they'll be better. And Bruce Arians made that abundantly clear. If he can win as many games as he won with Jameis turning the ball over the way he did, he should be able to win more games with Tom Brady, who takes care of the football.
So I suddenly hear my partner Shannon Sharpe coming around on 43-year-old, soon to be 43-year-old, Tom Brady. You thought he was hitting wall, falling over cliff last year in New England, all the stats down. I kept telling you he's got no help. Belichick gave him no help. I almost felt it went to the point that Belichick was sabotaging Brady in his final year because he wanted Brady out and wanted to go forward with Jared Stidham, I guess. We'll talk about that in a moment.
Correct.
But to me, you were telling me that Tom Brady is still going to be good enough at 43 to turn the Bucs, who have been pathetic over the last decade. They're suddenly going to be a Super Bowl team?
They're the worst sports franchise of the major sports in North America. They're probably like 200 games under 500. I think they got a 347, 350 win percentage, which is not very good. Here's the thing. When you look at what he's gone into, you get 2 1,000-yard receivers, actually 2 maybe 12, 1,300-yard receivers. Excuse me. You have 2 tight ends. I don't believe people realize how good O.J. Howard can be, Skip.
I agree.
This dude can be special. 6'5", 255, 260, can run like he can catch the football. He just needs more opportunities. Now, I don't know how many more opportunities he's going to get when he has those 2 legit guys outside. Cameron Brate, who had a great relationship with Jameis. Imagine, Tom loves throwing to the tight ends. Some of Tom's best years is when he had those 2 tight end sets going in New England. And we know what he was able to do with Gronk. Now, I'm not saying any of these guys have the ability to be Gronk.
Yep.
But when you have 2 guys outside that can stretch the field, and you have 2 guys that can work the middle of the field. Tom Brady, yes, he went from basically from hell to heaven as far as offensive weapons going from New England to Tampa Bay. I don't think anybody will deny that.
I certainly won't. I'm going to go this far. Tom Brady will turn the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the woeful Buccaneers, into a division winner and into a conference winner.
Wow.
They are Super Bowl bound because of Brady and the fit with Bruce Arians and the great Tom Moore. I brought him up when we talked yesterday. But he was the guru to Peyton Manning in Indy for all those years. He's 80 years old, but he will have some input into this. And trust me, that was a reason that Tom chose Tampa.
Yeah, but Skip, when you look at Tom, with the exception of the few years that he had Randy Moss, was never a guy that really pushed the ball down the field. Bruce Arians liked to push the ball down the field. Tom is a guy that likes to middle, 15 yards and back.
Yep.
A lot of screens, a lot of short crosses to Julian Edelman when he had Wes Welker. And so for him, that's going to be a change because Bruce, B.A., they call him, we was talking about Bruce, but B.A., Skip, he loves to push the ball down the field. He likes the rewards that come from the big plays and knows in order for you to win games, you need to get big plays. All that nibbling, at some point in time, you have to get those explosive plays.
Okay.
So the question is, how does Tom Brady rewire himself to say, you know what, in year 21, at 43 years of age, I know I have not been this the majority of my career. How do I all of a sudden adjust and says, I need to push the ball down the field?
Stat time. Would you believe that in what are called deep passes, I'm talking about Tom Brady last year,
right,
when he was 24 touchdowns to 8 interceptions without a whole lot of help, Again, for those who have missed this stat, Julian Edelman was his primary target. He led the NFL in drop passes. But remember, for a while, Tom had Josh Gordon.
Correct.
And for a brief moment, he had Antonio Brown.
Correct.
So on what are called deep passes, that's 16 yards plus.
Yes.
Tom Brady's passer rating last year was 98. He completed 40 such deep passes, which was on average for his career. In his best year, back let's go back to his MVP season, 2017. Okay, in 2017, on those passes, he had a 96 passer rating. Last year, 98. So he was actually a little better last year, slightly better on what are called deep passes. Than he was in his MVP year in 2017. So my point to you is, I think you've forgotten how many deep balls he threw early last year in the first 8 games. I've been watching NFL Network all morning, and they just showed a parade of Brady deep throws, but they were mostly coming in the first 6 or 8 games.
Right, and the thing is, Skip, is that everything was predicated is that they dink, 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 and then they hit you over the top.
Yeah.
That's not how BA runs his offense. It's deep, deep, deep. Now I'm going to dink you when you start backing off. Skip, but as you mentioned that he was great in some areas like the deep balls, he was very bad in the red zone. He was terrible at pressure. He was terrible at the blitz. This was his worst year.
Okay. He had nobody at tight end. They were the worst group production-wise of any tight ends in the NFL.
Right.
He had 39-year-old Benjamin Watson and Matt Lacoste. We went from Gronk to that, and all of a sudden, you already pointed out, O.J. Howard and Cameron Brate, they're both way better than Tom had. And Tom loves his tight end, as we've seen in the past.
Right.
Going back to Aaron Hernandez and Gronk, right? And yet, if you add on top of the tight ends, 2 big physical, especially Mike Evans, wideouts, who made the Pro Bowl last year, now he's got 4 better weapons than he had in New England all of last year.
Oh, there's no question. This is the best group of pure receivers that he's ever had.
Okay.
I mean, look, Randy Moss is in a class by himself. But when you pair Godwin, you pair Mike Evans, Skip, it's hard for me to believe that he's ever had this much talent on the offensive side of the football from a skill set. When you look at O.J. Howard, you look at Cameron Brate, you look at their 2 receivers.
Could be the best ever. Yeah.
Right, because Gronk, I don't know if Gronk was there with Gronk wasn't there with Randy. So with that being said, at one particular time, this is it.
Let's look at interceptions. Tom had a career-high 14 interceptions, but he did it 3 times, and they all came early in 02, 04, and 05.
Right.
So pretty early in his career,
Right.
he had 14, 14, and 14.
Right.
But that's his high for his career.
Right.
So last year he was 24-8 in a quote-unquote down year or sort of as he's sliding into the sunset.
Right.
24-8 with the lack of receivers yet. Not all that bad. So if you take away 35 turnovers, what if Tom has 10 total turnovers? You cut it by 25. How much better could the defense be next year? I bet it'll be pretty good.
Oh, yeah, easy.
Right?
Because, Skip, if you take away 42 points from their point total, because he throws 7 pick sixes, they're not on the field, that's 42 points that goes into their category, which they didn't even step on the field. How many times did he turn the ball over and they run it back to negative territory, and the next thing, even if they just give up a field goal, that's points going against them that they didn't deserve. Skip, to put this in perspective, Jameis Winston has thrown more interceptions in 5 years than Aaron Rodgers has thrown in a career.
Okay.
How do you win?
Aaron Rodgers, I give you, he's the master of not throwing interceptions.
Even Russell Wilson. Skip, you just can't win with the amount of turnovers that Jameis has put the team. You just can't win like that.
Okay. So now you step back from the defense and you say, wait a second. Shaq Barrett led the league in sacks, right?
Yep.
Levante David's a stud at linebacker. They re-upped with JPP. So I'm seeing some firepower there.
Yeah.
They got to shore up their back end a little bit, but they could. And they might do it in the next few days, for all I know.
Right.
And now I look at Tom Brady with the ultimate challenge of, can I turn a perennial loser into a winner, kind of overnight because
Right.
I don't know how much OTA they're going to be allowed to have given the current
Right,
circumstance in the
you're
world.
right about that. So he's starting at a disadvantage because knowing Tom the way we know Tom, he would want to get in there immediately and start working right away.
I assume he could just with his receivers.
Yeah, I'm sure he probably
I mean,
called
they
him
could
out somewhere. Yeah.
They could come out here to L.A. and throw, right?
The question is, Skip, is that how much control does Tom want? Because when Peyton went to Denver, Skip, they basically said, okay, Peyton, whatever you want.
Yep.
Skip, he ran the meetings. He ran walkthroughs. Everything that happened, it was because this is the way Peyton wants it to go.
Mm-hmm.
So does Tom want that kind of control, Skip? Because,
maybe not that much,
Right.
but some.
Right. I'm sure they'll work some things. Tom, what do you really like? We're a deep throwing team. But if that's not what you like, because before every game, Skip, the offensive coordinator, head coach is, okay, what do you like? He's telling them, okay, I like this. I'm not really crazy about that. Let's put that on the back burner.
Okay.
Well, that's how BA is going to approach this with Tom Brady. Skip, he's great at the screen game.
Okay.
I don't know. Tampa's not a very good screen team. But if somebody's really good at something, why don't you equate that into your offense?
Okay, now let's go scope, big picture. I'm looking around, and I know it's still pretty early. I don't see any other NFC team loading up. I don't, again, was it huge that DeAndre went to Kyler? But are they a threat to get to the Super Bowl next year? They might be a threat to make the playoffs.
Right.
But that's the biggest move so far. The 49ers got a one back, obviously, DeForest Buckner. They're going to be really good. New Orleans, Malcolm Jenkins. I don't know
they're going to probably
gonna
lose Emmanuel Sanders. That's going to hurt them.
Yeah.
He provided some stability for them. He was very good for them.
I got something for you in Emmanuel here in just a moment.
Oh, yeah, hoping he go to the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Because remember, Skip, he did get behind KC.
Okay.
That could have been a game-tying touchdown.
Right.
And Garoppolo overthrew him by 5 yards.
Okay. So we look at the schedule, and I'll just go through it real quick at home. They got Green Bay. They got a huge game against my homeboy.
Yep.
Kansas City comes, then Minnesota, New Orleans, Chargers, Atlanta, Carolina, and Rams. Pretty tough, but not dominating, where you just can't win some games. Then away, they go at Chicago, at Detroit, at Denver, at Vegas, at New Orleans, at Atlanta, Carolina, and then the Giants. It's a kind of schedule where you could win 12 games.
Well, Skip, they're tough. It seems to be, and you never know what someone's going to be.
Yep.
But it seems to be their most difficult opponents are coming to Tampa.
Yep.
So
I agree.
And they will be favored. Kind of glad because guess what? Tampa's the NFC team.
Yeah.
And guess who covers the NFC?
Yeah. Love that. Yeah, we get them on Fox.
Yeah,
right?
Okay. Okay, Cowboys, you're going to have somebody challenge you for.
That clinches it. Tampa Bay wins the NFC next year.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.